if it's not something that you're going to consume or that you're having to go out of your way to eat, it's not helpful. So these foods here that I am adding in, my top 5 foods for constipation, are things that are going to be a little bit easier for you to eat and be more consistent with, because again, consistency is key. You can't eat these foods one time and all of your problems are gone, right? It's all about consistency.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Nourished and Thriving Show. I'm your host, Katie Lovett. I'm a registered dietitian on a mission to help you increase your impact and legacy on the world while healing your gut and reducing your IBS symptoms. I'm so grateful to have you here. Each week, I'll inspire you to live vibrantly and provide valuable resources and information that empowers you to take bold action towards your health goals. Before we dive in, make sure you follow or subscribe to my show wherever you're listening so you never miss an episode. Ready? Let's go!
Hey everybody, welcome back. So last week we talked about constipation and gut health and some non-food things to try, because I've heard so much of the time people talking about, I'm really struggling with constipation. It's causing a lot of discomfort, bloating, all of that. And I'm getting enough fiber, I'm getting enough water, and I don't know what else to do, because fiber and water and exercise and maybe taking a probiotic, that's kind of the generic advice that people are given. And then beyond that, people are really left to struggle alone a little bit. So I gave some tips last week on non-food things to try. We talked about chewing your food, the I Love You massage, magnesium supplements, castor oil packing, stuff like that, more hacks, right? But I did want to do a follow-up episode. I was thinking about it and was like, but what if people aren't eating enough fiber, but they think they are? What does that look like? And let's dig into the different types of fiber and why sometimes eating more fiber makes you feel worse. And so we're going to talk about all of that today. Make sure you stay tuned. So the thing with fiber, you've probably heard before that the recommendation is 25 to 35 grams a day. I'd say this is really kind of a baseline range. You want to be getting at least 25 grams of fiber in every single day. Most Americans aren't. And then if you have looked into like the paleo diet, anything like that, you may have learned that, our ancient ancestors got upwards of 100 grams of fiber a day. Now, I think our bodies have probably adapted to where that's probably not a great recommendation for you to go after right now. But we do want to make sure that we're getting an adequate amount in. And, our gut and our symptoms from our gut can tell us and help guide us and give us a sign of, hey, we're not getting enough fiber to help feed us. So what is fiber? What is it? Fiber is undigestible parts of food. We do not use them. Our bodies don't use them. They pass through. They can help add bulk to the stool. They can help improve motility throughout the gut. And fiber is a type of prebiotic, which you may have heard of before. And a prebiotic is basically a food for the good bacteria living in your large intestine. Okay, so it's really, really important as we're talking about gut health to feed your good tummy bugs too. I talk about this with my kids a lot. I found that it helps. Yes, we need to feed you and we need to feed your muscles and help keep you strong and healthy, but we also need to keep your good tummy bugs strong and healthy too. And putting it into that perspective and almost treating them like a pet or an extension of our own bodies, of something that we really need to care for and look out for, is helpful, I think, and not something that people think about a lot. So fiber is not something that humans use, but it's something our good bacteria use, and it can help improve stool frequency and consistency, reduce straining, reduce constipation, all of that. Now, if you're not sure how much fiber you're getting every day, I think it's probably really wise to just track your intake for about 3 days. Average days, right? Track what you normally eat so that you get an accurate representation of your fiber intake don't go like super healthy for those 3 days so that you get an A+ on your food log. That's not the point, right? The point is to know how much you're getting on a typical day. And so by, logging 3 days or so, 3 to 5 days, it'll give you a good idea of where you're averaging. And if you're good, if you're truly hitting that, 35 gram a day mark, and still struggling, okay, look at water and, exercise. But then if you're still really struggling beyond that, go back and listen to last week's podcast episode and try out some of those remedies. And then really think about some long-term solutions. You may be in a place where you just really need some help helping identify what's causing those symptoms at that point. It's not, any of these low-hanging fruit options. It's something that's a little bit more complicated going on, and you'd probably benefit from getting some help. I'd love to help you. I'd love to work with you. I help people with this all the time. And the really great thing about the way I work, and I do not know of another dietitian, another gut health dietitian who works the same way I do, right? Everyone has their own approach and their own gifts and talents and perspectives to bring to their work. But the way I work, how I empower you to make plans and decisions, and yes, I come alongside and support you with education, but you walk away feeling really good and like you really want to do something. And then whenever you're graduating from working with me, you have this increased knowledge in your body and how it works and how it ticks and what it needs and what it doesn't need, because we're also uniquely different and we're also personalized. And you'll have a list of like, hey, when my symptoms are flaring, here are my top few short-term actions to get myself feeling better quickly. And then here are the life components that typically tend to fall out of balance that I need to focus on for more long-term sustained health. So things like sleep or stress has become really unmanaged, or my diet has been not the best, as far as nutrients go, that type of thing. So you're both feeling better in the moment and you're working towards long-term health. And you're not having to go pay an expert necessarily to tell you what to do. Because instead of me just telling you what to do while we work together, you are navigating it yourself. And I'm making recommendations, but you're taking notes, and we're taking notes together of what's working really well for you and what's not as effective for you, so that then you have your own, toolbox to be able to pull from down the road, which is really, really cool. True difference maker from what I do. So, getting back to fiber, if you're kind of on the high end, right? You're getting enough, your fiber is sufficient. If you're low in fiber, don't, go for the top max range in a day. You're going to really want to slowly increase it over a few days, add a little bit more at one meal and then at 2 meals, make it slow. It's not something you want to just increase really quickly overnight, because you're going to really suffer from gas or worsening constipation or diarrhea or whatever. But it's something you're going to want to increase slowly over a week or so. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about insoluble fiber and soluble fiber, because this is kind of nuanced. You've probably read about it on like a blog or a magazine article, heard somebody talking about it, but it may not really make sense to you as far as like what it means. So insoluble fiber is not soluble in water. And so things like Metamucil, psyllium husk, that type of thing, it's not soluble in water. Versus soluble fiber is soluble in water. So think about something like a chia seed, where it forms a gel, it draws water into it. Flaxseed has some of both in it, because it does form a gel if you've ever made like a flax egg, if you didn't have an egg or you were doing a vegan recipe, but it also has components that aren't going to break down as they pass through. So for constipation, the great thing about a soluble fiber is it's going to, form more of a gel-like substance and soften the consistency of your stool, making it easier to pass. If you increase, especially your insoluble fiber really quick, it can make your stool even more bulky and more difficult to pass. So just kind of have that awareness as you work to incorporate soluble versus insoluble fibers. If you're not sure, just do a quick Google search. It's online, hey, does, this have more soluble or insoluble fiber as you are, trying to incorporate more fiber-rich foods into your diet. And it is important to make sure you're drinking enough water as you increase the fiber, right? Because if it's water soluble, but you're not drinking water, it's going to just pull water from your body and cause you to be dehydrated, and that's not great. So make sure that you're drinking enough water. Again, water, if you're not drinking enough, it's something that you want to increase gradually over time, over a couple of weeks or a week. Don't just go from drinking 20 ounces a day to 100 ounces, the next day. It's just not, you're not going to feel great doing that. So our bodies like to keep things the same, right? They like the status quo. They don't like huge changes all at once. So slow and steady is the name of the game there. I did want to share my top 5 favorite foods for constipation. There are some that maybe had or did not make my list that have been shown to be helpful with constipation that you may hear about other places, but I find that they're a little bit more difficult to incorporate into your diet. So for me, it's not going to help your constipation if you're not eating it, right? If it's not something that you're going to consume or that you're having to go out of your way to eat, it's not helpful. So these foods here that I am adding in, my top 5 foods for constipation, are things that are going to be a little bit easier for you to eat and be more consistent with, because again, consistency is key. You can't eat these foods one time and all of your problems are gone, right? It's all about consistency. So number 1 here is chia and flaxseed. Part of the reason why is because it takes such a small amount and it can be added to things that you're already eating. It does require a little bit of effort, but no more effort than eating anything else that you're not eating consistently right now. So chia can go great in you can make like a chia pudding. If you're making an overnight oat, add some chia into it. Chia and flax can be added onto a salad or on top of vegetables at dinner. Like, it doesn't matter. The flax ideally is ground flax so that you can get the whole benefits of that. And I would recommend that you keep these in the fridge. They also have some, healthy fats in them, and those can go rancid if they are kept on the shelf. So stick your chia and flaxseed in the fridge. They'll last you a lot longer. If they have, a strong smell whenever you're opening the package, it's probably, time to get rid of them and replace them. So, but chia and flax are my number 1. I think they're fantastic. Add it to smoothies, add it to a salad, add it to whatever you're eating, and it's really easy. Number 2, and this one may feel gross because it's like the old wives' tale remedy, but it's effective, is prunes. Prunes. You can have 1 or 2, and it really helps to get things moving for you. And so prunes are a really great thing to add in. If you just really can't stomach it, you can add it into a smoothie or something, but I don't think that they're, that bad. So prunes is my number 2. My number 3 is apples and pears. I lumped these together into the same category because they're a little bit similar, but they can really help get things moving. They both have quite a lot of soluble fiber to them and can help a lot with that. You can also make homemade applesauce. There have been some studies that have shown that 2 tablespoons of homemade applesauce a day can do wonders for your gut health. And that's because of the prebiotic components of them. So they can help feed your good bacteria as well, like we were talking about a minute ago. My number 4 is kiwis. Now, I grew up eating a lot of kiwis. I've always really liked kiwis. I remember taking them with me to school in 7th grade. I had track practice in the morning before school, and my mom would send me with some sliced kiwi for a snack between track and school starting out. Probably should have had some nuts or something with it too. Looking back now, thinking about more of a balanced snack, but we didn't know all of that back then. But it's, some people may not be as familiar with kiwis. They're really delicious. So if it's not your jam, give it a try. You want it to feel kind of like a peach or an apricot is how you'll know if it's ripe. You can eat the skin if you want. And whenever I lived in Barcelona, people ate the skin of their kiwi fruit, or you can slice it open and scoop out the fruit from the middle if the hairy skin grosses you out, or, blend it up in a smoothie. But it's actually been shown that people who ate 2 kiwis a day had a significant improvement in their IBS symptoms, primarily constipation. So 2 kiwis a day can really help. And then the last one is oats. Oats can be really helpful for IBS, constipation. They can help, bulk up your stool. They also have some soluble fiber in them. Just be aware that it's really easy to add a bunch of sugar to these oats. So try not to do that. Really try to add more like berries or nuts with a drizzle of honey. Don't add like a quarter cup of brown sugar or something like that in there, because we don't want to offset all of the good that we're doing for our microbiome. So those are my top 5 foods for constipation if you're struggling with ideas. So chia and flaxseed, prunes, apples and pears, kiwis, and oats. I actually gave you 7. And then I'm going to add in a bonus of citrus fruit is also really good for constipation for some people. So grapefruits, oranges, stuff like that. Now, one issue you may come across is an increase in bloating if you're introducing these foods. Now, it could be that you're introducing too much too fast. It could be that you're not getting enough water as you're increasing these foods. And it could also mean, it could be a sign some of these foods are higher in FODMAPs. And FODMAPs tend to cause you to bloat or make your constipation worse or even give you diarrhea if you're struggling with something called SIBO, which is small intestine bacterial overgrowth. IMO is another one, intestinal methanogen overgrowth. It used to be lumped under SIBO, but it's been separated out since methanogens aren't technically bacteria. So if you are finding that you're doing these things and you're just bloating like crazy, SIBO is going to be something to explore for you. And again, you're going to want some help as you navigate through SIBO. SIBO can be pretty complicated, tricky to help resolve. And that is something that I'm really experienced in helping people overcome. So there you have it. Let me know if this was helpful for you. Subscribe, share with a friend if they need to hear this information. And I hope that you guys are healthy and happy and have a wonderful week.
Thank you so much for listening to the entire episode. I hope you are feeling inspired and empowered to take bold action towards your health goals. If you enjoy what you heard, don't forget to follow my show so you never miss a new episode. And it would mean the world to me if you left me a review so others knew what to expect from my show. Last, get in touch. Let me know what bold action you're taking. Let me know how you're inspired. Follow me on Instagram at the_healthygut_dietitian. I've put a link in my show notes for you so you can simply click and follow. Come say hi. I respond to all my messages and I can't wait to get in touch.